Welcome back to our podcast. Today's episode of The One Thing That Changed Everything is about neoclassicism in the 18th century.
That's right, we'll be discussing a time where people wanted social and economic equality.
First, let's set the scene. You're poor, and the aristocrats of France are enjoying cake, fashion, Rococo art, and architecture while you starve.
This was the situation for the majority of French citizens during the reign of King Louis XVI and the iconic Marie Antoinette.
The French Revolution was first started due to the scarcity of food. People were starving due to a collective bad harvest. This caused a decrease in bread, which led to many people starved and angry.
Additionally, France was on the brink of bankruptcy due to wars, overspending, and the luxuries being enjoyed at the Palace of Versailles.
Many people were obviously upset at this inequality, so they began to form new ideas in art that were inspired by Roman and Greek ideals.
This is how neoclassicism was born. It was a complete and utter rejection of the gaudy, elitist style of Rococo. The pastels, organic shapes, and light-hearted motifs were replaced by mythological stories, clean lines, and themes of morality and heroism. Here is a Rococo painting made in the 18th century. The Swing by Fragonard is a Rococo painting that exemplifies the art movement that was characterized by pastels, romance, and leisure. It became popular amongst the aristocrats of the 1700s for its escapist sceneries and romantic themes.
Honestly, it's so beautiful. In contrast, the painting Oath of the Horatii by Jacques-Louis David is based on the story of the Horatii brothers who took an oath to always fight for Rome. This painting shows patriotism and France's desire to fight against tyranny. David used cool tones and complex composition to resemble a classical relief sculpture.
These themes were not just encased in paint, but also in words.
Right? Philosophers like Voltaire, Diderot, and Rousseau began to examine these social problems and started to create their own systems of intellectual, social, and political organizations.
But to avoid giving you a headache with their jargon, let's talk about the writers first.
Yeah, even saying their names almost gave me a headache.
Many people who were producing literature were poets and scholars. However, one of these writers stands out the most, Mary Wollstonecraft.
The mother of Mary Shelley herself criticized the concept of private property and was one of the first to offer sustained arguments for women's rights.
In her work, The Vindication of the Rights of Women, Wollstonecraft criticized the quality of education and challenged the misogynistic views of John Milton, the writer of Paradise Lost, Alexander Pope, the famous Rococo poet, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, one of the major philosophers during the Enlightenment, and Dr. John Gregory, the author of a misogynistic book about the education of women.
She slowly and steadily demolishes Dr. John Gregory's book, A Father's Legacy to His Daughters, then offers ideas for education that defeat stereotypes and advocates for enhancing the individual mental facilities.
Now, let's get into the philosophers, most notably the man who had a huge impact on the most influential figure of the French Revolution.
The one and only Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He was a humanist and ultimately believed in the goodness of humans, but he also believed that society was evil and corrupted that goodness, so he decided to create his own societal structure.
Well, he tried. He described it in his work, The Social Construct. He stated that the basis of his ideal state is the general will of the people, but he never really described how it would work.
Yeah, he was really vague, but most of his readers actually didn't care about his political theories, but rather his hatred for the superficial and artificial, and for his liking of the simple and direct relationship between people. This helped to create the ideals of aristocracy and elitism, which gave people hope that humans can be equal.
One of these people is the famous Maximilien Robespierre. He was the most influential figure during the French Revolution, pushing reform with Rousseau's philosophy to fight for equality.
These ideas still reign throughout today. We see that the separation between socioeconomic classes is becoming wider and wider.
Similarly to the way they widened during the French Revolution.
So to finish, our discussion question is, what modern ideas aim to fight similar problems, and why is the fight for equality so important?
Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you at the guillotine.